Hey, hello everybody. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today I got a brand new guest for you guys. I have the Georgia Picker is here with me. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Thanks for coming on and hanging out with us. Go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience, just in case they don't know who you are. You could tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and tell them a little bit about what it is that you do.
Okay, so pretty much my name is Brandon, also known as the Georgia Picker. I actually come from a background of being a baseball player, and right after high school, I joined the military. I did my time for about 5 years. Got out, went back to my hard labor job, and about 3 months later, I was actually able to quit my job to fulfill eBay full time. From Savannah, Georgia, moved up to Guyton, Georgia, which is about 20 minutes away, and I've been here all my life, exception of whenever I joined the military, and married my wife 3 years ago, and now we are settled down in Georgia, fulfilling eBay and Amazon and all types of stuff, just doing the reselling business. And yeah, it's pretty simple life.
Okay, awesome. And so you're a full time reseller, is that correct? This is your full time gig.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My full time gig with eBay, Amazon, mainly those my two platforms, and also local sales as well.
Okay, cool. We're live. Let me say hello to a few people here in the chat. I want to give a shout out here to the Flippin' Sports guy is here. Says what's going on. I want to give a shout out to the Early Bird Picker. He was my guest that was on yesterday. So thanks for if you guys didn't get a chance, you can go by and check him out. I wanted to say hey to Dixon's Pixons and the Mile High Hustlers are here. It says hey and hey Jeff. So thank you guys in the chat for joining me. And I wanted to say hey to Don is here. So hello everybody. If you guys have questions for our guests, go ahead and drop it in the chat. So kind of briefly, I know you discussed it briefly, but kind of tell us a little bit about how you first got into reselling because you said that you were doing some construction work. Were you kind of reselling part time on the side, and were you watching YouTube videos one day? Like, how did you first get started into reselling?
So this is kind of a weird story for me. So pretty much whenever I was on my hard labor job, I actually was working on the big 40-foot trailers that the semi truck drivers drive with containers on top. And I was working hard labor, and then I was like, you know what, man, I just got out of the military. I got all this knowledge because I used to work on aircraft in the Navy, and I was like, I could definitely get a better job, et cetera, et cetera. But then I casually started watching YouTube. I think the main person was Cincinnati Picker. Pretty sure everybody's heard of him, and I pretty much just kind of was like, wow, this is actually really addicting. And as I kept watching and watching and watching it, I was like, okay, you pick up little tips and tricks, and then from there, it just kind of took off. But the weird story about me was there was a Facebook Marketplace deal that kind of set me off to become a full time reseller. Especially in 3 months, that's it's very short amount of time. But the Facebook Marketplace deal was a Funko Pop deal. It was a guy who actually traveled to conventions and got all like the exclusive stuff. And I think I spent like $570 for maybe $4,000 profit after all said and done. And then about a month and a half later, a Funko Pop business went out of business, and they donated all their stuff to Goodwill. And so I made another $4,000 off of that deal. So it was like,
Really?
yeah, it was like back to back crazy deals. And this is before the time I was actually recording. And it was just insane finds back to back. And that right there just kind of put me on the map to become a full time reseller.
Yeah, man, I know what you mean when you find these like it's almost like one of these once in a lifetime deals. I found this consignment store that was going out of business, and they just let me buy all their media items for like $20. And so I got a whole stack of Blu-rays like Toy Story, and each one of these Blu-rays are selling for $50 a piece, and I've got like $20 in, and I had my whole car full of merchandise. So when you
Yeah.
fill your car up for $20, and then last year I bought out this whole guy's garage for $50. I bought out this guy's garage, and we're still eating off of that for months and months and months later. When you buy something like huge wholesale lots and then sell it off individually, that'll get your blood pumping, man.
Yeah,
So hey,
exactly.
wanted to say hey to the Mile High Hustler. Says, what is your best flip that you remember, and how much did you pay, and what did you sell it for?
Um, that's a hard one because I do abandoned storage units. You know, if I had to put it just from garage sales, I actually have a video on my YouTube channel. I can't remember the title of it, but I found all these Garfield Danbury mint stuff. If you guys don't know what Danbury mint, they make very detailed statues, like all types of stuff. But in this particular case, they were all Garfields. There was a Garfield spice rack with all the little spice jars. There was a Garfield calendar, Garfield toilet seat, and then a bunch of statues, probably like 8 of them. and I spent $170 on all that just for the spice rack. I sold it for $300, and then about 2 weeks ago, I sold the calendar for like 250, 260, and then I've been selling the statues for anywhere between 50 to like 70, and then I actually have one for 200. But like I think all in all, for that 170 investment, I probably made at least $700 just off of a garage sale find. But if we're talking about abandoned storages, once I made all my money back, matter of fact, the sale was actually today. It was actually a brand new guitar amp, and I sold it for $353. Pure profit. Obviously, that's gross, not net. But yeah, it gets tricky with the storage units. But yeah, I think the Danbury Mint stuff was like the most insane thing I've ever found actually at a garage sale.
Yeah, man, I've been catching some up on your YouTube videos, and you've been hustling, man, and it kind of blows my mind watching your video. And you're like, oh, here's a quick 10-minute video, and I'm gonna walk out of here with $900 or $1,000 worth of merchandise that you can resell, and you're literally in and out in 10 minutes. You weren't there, what, like it was an all-day event, and you like literally loaded your truck up, and it's like, hey, I got, we got the N64, we got, we got the goodies. Let's get out of here before they start asking too many questions, right?
So those are, you don't find that every day. And again, one thing I say on my channel a lot is that I'm truly blessed in the reselling game, and truly blessed of having people like you and a bunch of other YouTuber resellers, where you actually can get all this knowledge. Obviously, Nintendo 64 and video games are kind of a common knowledge nowadays. But whenever I got there, the husband of the lady said that she just put all the stuff out, and in the video you see her bring all the Wii stuff out, and there's actually 2 Wiis there, and I didn't know that. But yeah, sometimes it's just the biggest thing that I would probably say to people is, if you don't get up and do it, you're never going to find that particular find. The Nintendo 64, the PS2, the Danbury Mint stuff. The biggest thing is just getting out of bed and just going there. It might, even if it's a 20-minute drive, just try. That's the biggest thing, man. It's crazy, some of the stuff you can find.
Yeah, what's funny is that sometimes you watch other YouTubers and they make it look easy, and they make it look like every time they're up to plate, they hit it out of the park. But I'll tell you guys from experience, like, I've been out before on a Saturday and just been like, hey, I'm going to hit 10 pawn shops. And I'm telling you, out of the 10 pawn shops that I hit that day, one of them was a home run. All the other ones were maybe base singles or doubles, but only one of them I found where I was really to cash in at one store. So it's kind of the same concept where, you may not hit a home run the first yard sale or the first thrift store you go to, but it's just like, the more times you have at bat, the more chances you have of coming across really good deals. So, hey, one of the things that I wanted to touch on real quick is I was watching your video, and one of the things that really intrigued me a lot was the bin store video you had, because you were pulling out items from this bin store. Like, guys, if you guys didn't get a chance to go check his YouTube video out, he bought this item at the bin store for like $4, and it's selling on eBay for like $80. So, and it's like brand new in the box. So when you're buying items for $4 a piece, and he was like pulling up sold comps, like, oh, this item here is selling for $50, this one's 70, this one's 80. So if people haven't been to these, like, I guess you would call them like Amazon return bin stores, to explain a little bit about what that is and how people can find them in their local area. Because when you're getting items that's brand new in the box, there's nothing wrong with it. You're picking it up for $3 or $4 a piece and selling it for $75, $80, $100. There's pretty good margin there. Go ahead.
So the thing about bin stores is, if you guys don't know how it works, it's pretty much big corporate retail stores that have overstocks, or they just get too many returns and they liquidate them to a warehouse, and then the warehouse sells them by the truckload, pallet, boxes, however you guys want to do it. And then you have smaller businesses like the bin store here, which is called the Friendly Marketplace, and they will basically buy them out of liquidation, and then they will just fill the bins with all types of stuff. I think the most insane find I've ever found at the bin store was a tattoo stencil printer. I got it for $6 on $6 day, and I actually sold it within 48 hours for $300. But some of the stuff that I found recently was they got a new person to buy from, and they said they have all types of stuff. And there's like a NES, like a 620 like play impact thing. It only goes for about 25. Then that thing that you're talking about for the $80, I didn't know what it was, but I saw it was called a Deity like LAV microphone or something like that, and it was worth $80. It really surprised me. But the way bin stores work, though, is like anything in the bins is going to be like $6 on a Monday, $5 on a Tuesday, and then so on and so forth. Like this Friday is going to be Black Friday for my personal bin store, and then they have a fill a bag day for $20. And then Sundays, they do all their restocking. So I usually try to be there on Sundays, depending on what's going on in my life. But yeah, that's the greatest thing about bin stores. People find iPads, people find, just all types of stuff. It is actually crazy on how bin stores actually work.
Yeah, and guys, one of the things he picked up was like this, like compact. It was like a compact CD player, and it was still like basically new in the box. And like that one item is going to sell for like $50. And like you said, one of them was like it was like a microphone that like podcasters would use or something. And all the stuff was still new in the plastic. So when you're picking stuff up like that for, $4 or $5 or something, and you're turning around and selling it for $80, and you've got $4 tied up into it, and it's new in the package, so it's not like you have to go home and clean it and test it and make sure it works. Like you're making a huge profit on some of these deals. So hey, because I had another guy, ATL Flipper, a couple weeks ago, and he lives in Atlanta, and he says he couldn't find any bin stores in Atlanta, and I was like, bro, there's got to be some. So if somebody lives in a major city, how do they go about looking online? Do they need to go like on Google? How do they find some of these bin stores in their local area? Because there's got to be some if you're near a major city, right?
So the best way or I guess the way I found out about the bin store that's around me, and even then it's still about a 25, 30-minute drive for me. So I actually found them on Facebook Marketplace by joining like the Facebook groups and stuff like that. And a girl named Erin, which is one of the part owners of the building, she would put out posts and they're saying, hey, come join us. Not a whole lot of people know about us. And at the time, they were just kind of like a smaller bin store. Then they had like a few knickknacks here and there, but they've actually expanded it to where they have like their own thrift store inside it. They have like, I think, 369, like 9 bins, furniture, like all types of stuff. And I guess the real question is where to find it. I mean, definitely Google. You can probably Google Amazon return store, bin store near you. I do know there's actually one of them that's actually near me, but it's an hour away. I know there's a few in South Carolina, but I do know that they're actually spreading like wildfire right now. Like a lot of stores are opening up just for return Amazon return bins, bin stores. And it just really depends on the supply and demand of where you're at, really. I think Atlanta, they probably would bring some a bin store or two up there, but it's just in time is really the thing.
Yeah, and then you can look up liquidation stores, things like that. Well, I like it because you're not spending 500, 800, $1,000 or something to buy a big pallet of merchandise and then kind of rolling the dice and seeing what happens. You can actually pull out the item and check the condition and see, hey, has this been damaged? Is this a customer return? Is this shelf pull? Is there anything wrong with it? And you can easily flip it over and scan the barcode and check sold comps there on the spot. And I mean, dude, you were in and out in like an hour, and you made probably what, like $800 or $1,000 worth of merchandise that you walked out of there with.
Yeah, I want to say it's probably around, right around $800, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and so I mean, and you didn't. How much did you spend total? Like you spent like $80, and you turned 80 bucks into like 800, and you were only there for like an hour.
Yeah, it was $80.88. That's how much I spent on the most recent one, and it should be right around about $800 for everything. Now, of course, it's got to sell, but looking at sold comps for everything. That's one thing about bin stores too. Just a little tip and trick. Whenever you guys go to bin stores, mine's a little bit smaller, so we don't really have like crazy competition, but we still do. But the biggest thing is go to each bin, whatever you see, just pull it real quick. Even if you guys think it's profitable, just grab it, throw it in your buggy or bag, whatever you guys have, and then look up sold comps later, because that's what I did. I think I picked up maybe 15 items, and I think I only put back like 3. So that's how good, kind of like how my intuition is on a lot of items. But grabbing 15 items just to put back 3, I mean, that's a good solid pickup.
Yeah, man. I kind of like the knowledge there, where it's like, hey, you fill up. If you see something that's profitable, put it in your cart. Ask questions later, and then if you once you sit down and look up sold comps, if it's something that you don't like, you can always put it back, right?
Right.
So I mean, when you're turning $80 into $800, and he's in and out in an hour, most people don't make that work in a 40-hour week job. So let me say hello real quick to the Selling Sniper. He says, I just got back from 3 bin stores in El Paso. Spent $143. And he says that he paid $7. He's going to get $7 each profit, over $1,000 in potential profit. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And you can spend $140 where you're going to make $1,000 in profit. And he hit 3 different stores. So I mean, he was probably there for 2-3 hours, and they had the rest of the day free to go do what you want to go do. Hey, we had a quick question here from Don in the chat. He says, do you find flea markets profitable?
First and foremost, Don, what's going on, man? So Don actually comes to my channel all the time. Very keeps me very hyped up to keep the subscribers going and all that. So I just want to shout out to Don. But personally, I only have one flea market near me, and they are all filled with resellers. There's one older gentleman in the very back of my flea market, but he kind of retail as well. But I don't find any profit at flea markets. I believe I did do a flea market video, but it was mainly a thrift store slash flea market video. I went in there, I found 2 items, and I made maybe like $7. There's literally no room for profits at my local flea market. Now, if you guys watch Harry Tornado, he actually has one that's very close to him, or I don't know if it's close to him, but he actually goes there and he finds all types of stuff. So it really depends on your area, and it really depends on how many resellers are. But due to the fact that we have like bin stores near us, there's like a liquidation pallet store that's actually near us as well. There's a lot of competition out there at the flea market.
Yeah, I think it would just vary depending on your location, because when I was living in Kentucky, we would go to the flea market all the time, and you would find, just like, for example, you'd find like an air conditioner remote for $1, and, within an hour it would sell for $25. So, it just depends on what it is that you're looking for and what area that you live in. And, some of the flea markets are profitable. Some of them aren't. Some of them are trying to sell close to retail price. I remember I went in there and I was looking at this PS2 video game, and they were like, oh no, this PS2 video game, they wanted $20 for it. So it's like, there's not enough, wiggle room. There's not enough margin. I was going to pay like $2 for it and sell it for 20. So there's got to be enough wiggle room there, but it's always cool when you could go to a place like a flea market or yard sale where you could kind of negotiate the price a little bit. But sometimes these people, they just don't want to negotiate. Whatever the price is, whatever the price is. So, hey, we have a question here from the Selling Sniper. He says, hey, I came in late. What platforms do you currently sell on?
So the 2 main platforms I sell on is eBay, which is my #1. Then it would probably fall under Amazon, and then Facebook Marketplace. I do dabble into Mercari and Poshmark. So eBay is kind of like my bread and butter, to where pretty much probably 90% of my inventory goes on. Amazon would be like, okay, if there's like a $40 difference between Amazon and eBay, I'm probably going to list it on Amazon. And then Poshmark, for me personally, I don't really deal with a whole lot of clothes, even though it's accessible to everybody. Whenever I do abandoned storage units, I usually find like items that are actually pretty decent, like with brand new tags and stuff like that. I'll probably sell it on there for like 10, 15, $20, just to, I don't want to throw every single clothes out or donate them or have a garage sale with them, because there are some good profitable items that way. Especially like used jeans. If you ever do like abandoned storage units and you find like used jeans, but they're in like great condition, put them on Poshmark for $10. They'll sell all day and you profit $5.55 per item. And then Mercari, I use stuff like, if they're bureaued over on eBay, Mercari is like a very good platform to sell pretty much anything, and you don't really get bureaued or whatever their terminology is over on Mercari. So those are the platforms that I usually do. And then Facebook Marketplace would mainly be for like bigger items, such as all that brand new sporting equipment I got for $3,100, and other items as well.
Okay, so what platform do you think you sell on the most? Probably eBay.
Yeah, eBay by far. eBay is, I like pretty much the same numbers. Probably 90% of all my money comes from eBay, and then down the line probably 5% from Amazon, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, guys, so if you guys didn't get a chance, I have his link down below to one of his recent videos where he said he made like $2,000 in sales in a week of reselling. So if you guys want to get an idea of type of items that he sells and and all that, you can check it out. But do you have a certain niche that you kind of stick to, or do you just sell whatever you can get a good deal on?
So I don't really, I can't really say I have a niche, because in my eyes, if you're going to be a reseller, yeah, it's good to have a niche in the back of your head, but you need to be a very versatile reseller. Now, I'm obviously not trying to tell you how to run your business, but whenever I first started getting into it, obviously it was Funko Pops, because obviously I found a whole bunch of them in a short amount of time, and I was really into that. And then after a while, I started getting into like video games, which is kind of a common knowledge nowadays. And then I just started getting into just anything that intrigued me, like the Danbury Mint Garfield statues. I went up there and I was like, wow, this is actually really cool. Funny fact about that garage sale is I was actually fixing to leave the spice rack in the calendar behind. I just wanted the statues. And thank goodness I didn't, because technically I got that spice rack for $2 technically. So it just goes to show you, if something intrigues you and it catches your eye, don't be afraid to look it up. And to be honest with you, I didn't even look any of the stuff up. I just had a feeling that it was good stuff because it was Danbury Mint. And the reason why I know about that is because of resellers on YouTube. They talk about Danbury Mint stuff all the time. So yeah.
Okay, so what are the places that you go sourcing at the most? I know you go to the bin store, you do yard sales and estate sales. So what are some of the places that you try to go to the most to go look for, go sourcing to get inventory? And how many days a week do you go sourcing? Because this is your full-time gig that you do.
So Yard sales and garage sales are probably my number one accessible places to go source at, because the thing is, I live in Georgia. It doesn't really get crazy cold here, so we pretty much have yard sales year round, pretty much. Some weeks are going to be slower because of weather and stuff like that, but for the most part, we have them all year round. And then after that will probably be the bin stores, because they're pretty much open 7 days a week, unless it's a holiday. And then I believe it or not, I actually get a lot of inventory from abandoned storage units as well.
Yeah, so can you talk a little bit about some of these storage units if they haven't done it? Because I don't have a big truck or a trailer to haul this stuff out. Because when you guys buy a storage unit, they don't let you just pick and choose, say, oh, I want to just take this stuff and leave the garbage. Like, they want you to clear the whole unit out and have it like swept clean. So it doesn't matter if the stuff is junk or it's garbage or whatever, you have to take all of it with you. And it's kind of hard to do that when you're driving like a little Toyota Prius and you're trying to fill up a whole storage unit. So tell me a little bit about your journey or your experiences with that, and the good and the bad and everything that goes with it.
Okay, so whenever I was younger, my dad used to watch the show Storage Wars all the time, and this was back whenever I was in high school, and he would be like, "Wow, this is really cool stuff." And so I've always kind of had like a niche to actually do it. I was like, I really want to try it one day. So in October of last year was my first time I ever got into a storage unit, and the storage unit ended up being owned by a pawn shop person. And you can just imagine what's in pawn shops. There's crazy stuff. I found laser level tools. I found HK knives, which I sold those for $150 a piece, and I found 5 of them, but I kept one for myself. And I spent $960 on said unit. The good thing about it, pretty much everything in there I was selling online. I think I sold one of the laser level tools for like $500. And this is at the time where eBay really wasn't like, I wasn't too knowledgeable about how to sell stuff really, even at that time frame, because you figured that was probably 6-9 months into actually reselling. So you're constantly learning. The good thing about it, a lot of resellable items. Bad thing about it, you have to haul it yourself. So pretty much I rented out a U-Haul. It cost me like $160 after all said and done. And that's another cost, right? So 960 plus 160, so that puts me at over $1,000 cost, but I still made probably right around $5,000 for everything that was in there. And the greatest thing is, to me personally, is the digging and finding that treasure. I think storage units, if you're knowledgeable on what to look for, then you guys can be very profitable on it. Now the good ones also kind of come in waves, so there might be like 1 week where 3 really good ones come up, and then you got to figure out which one you want. Do you want all 3? Do you want to waste all your profits, et cetera, et cetera? And then there's going to be months to where you just don't find anything. But yeah, I would say the worst thing is trash. You have dump fees, which my dump has 8 cents a pound. So I'll probably say on average I spend anywhere between $50 to $75 on trash alone.
Yeah, well, I was just going to ask, like, when you're looking at the storage unit, how do you decide, like, okay, this is a good one, we're going to bid on this one we're going to pass on? Because, from what I've seen on television and what I was talking to other resellers is, like, you can't go in and open the boxes and look and see what's inside of it. You could kind of walk by and look at the outside of it, and you could kind of look at boxes and totes to get an idea of what's in there. But to me, man, my big thing would be having to deal with all these furniture, like desks and dressers and chests and all this big heavy furniture. I would totally be the one to avoid all that. Box springs, all that type of stuff.
So the in-person auctions are very rare nowadays because of COVID and things like that. A lot of companies have switched to online. You guys can look at 3 websites that I use. It's storagetreasures.com, there's storageauctions.com, and then there's lockerfox.com. Those are the 3 that I really look at. But the way I pick and choose storage units would be like, if you guys actually watched my most recent abandoned storage unit where I spent $1,420 on that unit, and we found like a Jacksonville Jaguars helmet. And the crazy thing about that is, as I'm doing more research, it's called teal. It's like the color of the helmet, and it's very rare. I'm the only one on eBay who actually has that colored helmet. And over on WorthPoint, one of them sold for $750. So I put mine up there for a premium of $850, and then I've turned best offers on. But I found a Super Nintendo Super Scope, brand new, or not brand new in the box, but it was like minty fresh on the inside. The box is kind of messed up, but it's really about how you look at everything. So what I do is I actually have a notepad here on the ground, and anything I see, I'm like, okay, I think I can get this for this, and then that's what I'm set that's what I would see. So whenever I was going through everything on this unit, I was like, okay, I see at least $1,250 conservatively of what I think I can get for everything. So then I'm like, okay, what am I willing to gamble after that? Because there's a bunch of boxes, at least 20 of them. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's in them. Okay, you figure 1,250 for me to spend 1,430. That was less than $200 I'm gambling. So I'm like, okay, you know what? It's worth it for me.
Yeah, I hear you. So you kind of want to look at it, at the photos of it, even when you're bidding online, and kind of get a good tally of it and say, okay, I know I'm going to be able to get XYZ number of dollars back out of the storage unit. But for me, man, it would be hard to pull the trigger on spending $1,000 from this storage unit and just hope to break even, because at that point, it's like you've already thrown $1,000 into this abyss, and you have to slowly climb out of it just to get to the point where you break even. Whereas you could go to a yard sale or a thrift store and spend $5 and turn $5 into $100, and you're not gambling $1,000 on a storage unit. But I mean, you've been doing it for a while, and I guess you got a pretty good feel of what's a winner and what to pass on, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, the one of the first signs with anything, as long as if you look to your left, you see collectibles. If you look down the middle, you're seeing collectibles like the model cars that I saw in there, which is roughly about $400 worth. And then if you look over to the right and you see more collectibles, 9 times out of 10, there's going to be more collectibles that you can't see. Now, the Jacksonville Jaguar helmet was very surprising. I wasn't expecting that, but we found like McDonald toys, like a bunch of them. Brainy
Yeah.
tools, which actually sold very, very quick locally. I actually made my 1420 or 1430 $1,430 back within 3 days of that unit. So pretty much, and all that sold locally, cash money, got all my money back, no fees coming out, nothing.
Okay, cool. Let me say hello real quick to the Selling Sniper. I wanted to say hey to Chris. Davenport is here. He says, hey, Brandon. I wanted to say hey to Diggs is here in the chat. And I wanted to say hey to Triggs was here. So if you guys have questions for our guest, you could drop it in the chat. So, hey, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some advice or tips or tricks or advice to help out other resellers. One of your recent video, you talked about how you did $2,000 a week in sales. And maybe some of the people that are just kind of getting started, or maybe they're kind of doing it, because I'd say the majority of the people that are reselling, there's a good chunk of people that do this full time, but a lot of people work their full time 9 to 5 job and kind of do reselling part time on the side. So what would be like your top 3 tips or piece of advice that you would come up with to kind of help a reseller make a full time income from reselling? So maybe they're making $1,000 or $2,000 a month, and they want to make $2,000 a week. What do they need to do to kind of bump up their sales on eBay or just reselling in general?
First off, Chris, what's going on, man? I see you in the chat. So I guess my first, again, I think I said it earlier. I think the biggest tip that I could give anybody would be just to show up. That is the biggest thing. It could be going to an estate sale where you guys might think the prices are crazy high, but you never know. You might find somebody slipping. There might be an in-person storage auction, which they're rare, but they do happen. But the biggest thing for me is to show up. If you don't get out there and actually take the time to go garage sale and source for 3 hours, if you guys don't take that hour drive to go to the bin store, you're never going to find anything and to make money. It's just not going to happen. But so basically, you just got to have the drive for it. The second tip is knowledge is power. I think that is a very good thing to say as far as people who are getting into it, because if your niche is video games, that's all your knowledge, and you're not going to find those expensive video games out there. Or I'm sorry, other expensive items. You might know those said video games, but they're going to be harder to come by. So let's say, for example, you find 10 items for $100. Okay, so that right there is $1,000 for you in video games. But if I'm out there sourcing, let's say 20 items for $100 because my knowledge is more expanded, then therefore I'm essentially making more money. So knowledge is power. Have a niche, but at the same time, you also don't want to overlook items as well. So knowledge is power, probably my second one. And then the third one, I don't know. The first two are really important. Let me see if I can think of a third one.
I think the third one would probably go ahead.
I was going to say just have the motivation for it. It's a nonstop job. Is nonstop work. Sometimes I put in 16, 17 hours a day because I don't work. I don't sleep very well. So sometimes you're working more than your 9 to 5 job, but at the same time, you're your own boss. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Keep in mind about the incentive. There you go. I think that would be the good third one. The incentive of being your own boss. So you make up your own hours and spend whatever you want to spend, and just kind of keep that as like a motivation tool to keep you going.
Okay, cool. Now, there's something I wanted to pick your brain about is, I think we need to talk about this real quick. What do you do as far as reinvesting your capital back into your resale business? Because I was watching your video and you said you kind of give yourself kind of a monthly budget and say, okay, I've got XYZ number of dollars to spend this month to allocate to reinvest to buy in merchandise. And because that's a big thing, because you may have a big month where maybe you made, let's say, $7,000, $8,000 in sales that month on, reselling, but then the following month, your sales are going to kind of decline a little bit because you haven't taken the capital to reinvest to buy more merchandise. You don't have nothing to sell the next following month. So talk a little bit about that. How do you kind of control your finances as far as covering your personal expenses versus having capital to reinvest back in your business?
So the way I do things, so I do a little bit of an overkill. So a lot of people, I think in their eBay business, they usually take about 25% out of what they make and they put it out to the side for taxes. So I actually put away 50% of what I make in a month. I know it's way overkill, but the reasoning for that is because since I do abandoned storage units, it's kind of like I kind of have to have that extra, money off to the side because if there's like a really good one, I want to hop on it and I got to have the, sufficient funds to do it. So I actually take 50% after all bills are paid for and all that good stuff. And then usually, like I said, the good ones are kind of hard to come by. So it might take 3 months, but then that'd be 3 months taking 50% of my profit into other stuff. But of course, if I don't have the money for storage unit, I just don't do it. I just reinvest into garage sale items. But that's pretty much what I do. I take that 50%, I take that 25%, put it off to my taxes, and then that other 25% is vacation, play money, depending on what comes up.
Okay, cool. So let's talk real quick about your YouTube channel. Tell everybody a little bit about what type of content you make. I mean, you do kind of sourcing videos, what sold videos. Tell people about what type of videos you make on your channel if they haven't gone by to check you out yet.
So the main videos I do is garage sale videos and what sold videos. I think the what sold videos are very important because it kind of gives you guys more of an insight of what somebody's reselling and to where you guys can potentially, like I said, knowledge is power to learn certain brand names or whatever the case is to where you guys can implement into your own reselling business. I do bin store videos. Bin stores are just very cool in general because you get such, or for the most part, such high profit margins compared to sometimes in garage sales and storage units. Sometimes you win and lose on storage units. I also do abandoned storage units. Abandoned storage units are so fun because you can actually make that into like 3 or 4 videos to where people can kind of binge watch it. And at the same time, it helps the YouTube channel grow a little bit as well. With garage sale videos, you can't really expand them too much unless you go to like one specific one to where you're there for like 20 minutes. What else do we do? We do what sold videos, bin stores, abandoned storages. Occasionally we do thrift stores. Matter of fact, I actually went sourcing yesterday, so I will have a thrift store video for you guys. Maybe not tomorrow because it's Thanksgiving, but definitely Friday. And then Saturday will be a what sold video. Then probably Monday will be a garage sale video. But yeah, those are our main ones. We do estate sales as well, but those are, like I said, those are kind of one of a kind as well. But it all really depends. There's definitely other things I want to do because we do have a local liquidation pallet store. I want to do that maybe just one day. But there's so many ways you can make sourcing videos, and we're so new into the reselling game. Even though I've been doing this for almost 2 years, there's still so much knowledge that you're bringing in that you still want to try out and things like that. So definitely in the future, probably in the next year, because me and my wife are going to be traveling. We're going to be doing all types of stuff, trying new places. New store that I like going to is Ollie's. Ollie's has some crazy stuff that you could resell, and they actually welcome resellers. And with a tip and trick, if you guys do not have an Ollie's near you, or if you guys do, if you guys actually have a tax exemption code, they actually will sell you stuff without taxes. So that's pretty new to me, and I found that out probably about 2 months ago whenever I went to a Georgia Bulldog game. So very cool. You even learn stuff whenever you're going on a little vacation,
Yeah, well, there's an Ollie's right down the street from my house, but I haven't been in there to check it out yet. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now with Thanksgiving coming up and the holidays. So, hey, man, tell everybody where they can go by and check you out at on YouTube and Instagram so they can go by and follow you guys.
So YouTube is youtube.com/the Georgia Picker. We have a Facebook, which is the Georgia Picker. We have an Instagram, which is the Georgia Picker, and then we actually have a TikTok called the Georgia Picker, and then there's an underscore at the very end, and those are all my platforms.
Okay, yeah, guys, you guys should go ahead and follow him. I think he's really close to 2,000 subscribers. I have all his links down below for YouTube and Instagram. Let me give a shout out here to a few people here in the chat. I wanted to say hey to Laura is here. I hope I didn't mispronounce your name. Says hey from Florida. Hey, I'm here in Florida as well. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you guys are getting ready to have a good Thanksgiving. I wanted to say hey to the Flippin' Sports Guy is here, the Selling Sniper. I wanted to give a shout out to Regina for stopping by and hanging out with us today, and Chris and Diggs and anybody else on the chat that I missed. So, hey, Georgia Picker, man, before we let you go, I want to pick your brain real quick. What would be some of your future projects? Because I know you said you got some things you want to do next year, but let's say over the next 3 or 4 years, what are a couple of things that you would like to do with your YouTube channel and your reselling business?
So I think one of the most, I guess the most fun things that I personally enjoy is the abandoned storage units, but they're so expensive. Eventually, I want to get to the point to where the YouTube videos are paying for the units, and I think that would be really cool because, once again, like I said, the most exciting thing for me personally is going through everything and the excitement of finding, like a World War II knife or gold or whatever, some of the crazy finds that you can find. I found a gun in one unit, that was kind of crazy as well. But we definitely want to try to make that happen into next year, but obviously we have to grow and make that happen. But and then of course maybe get into like some liquidation pallets and just kind of give like everybody an all-around feel over on my channel, because I don't want people to just look at, like, for instance, there's some YouTubers out there who do eBay where their main source is just bin stores or their main source is garage sales. I kind of want to have like a versatile channel, that way everybody has all that knowledge to how they can source, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool. So, hey, we're going to try to keep this video kind of short because it's the holidays are coming up. So, hey, Georgia Pickerman, do you have any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you can leave our audience with?
I would say just stay motivated. Anything that you do in life, just make sure you're not wasting your time. If you're going to go out there and do something, give it 110%. That's one thing my dad always told me. If you're going to do anything, give it your all, because if you don't, then at the end of the day, you're going to regret it. But believe it or not, man, reselling, a lot of people will say that it's hard, but it's really not. If I had to give my 2 cents on it, reselling is so easy because you can find it everywhere. You can find it on YouTube. There's platforms that actually explain how to do things, how to do your taxes. I mean, there's so many things out there and things that are available to people that it's a lot easier than what people make it. And if you want to do it, man, just do it.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many different ways out there you can go sourcing and find profitable items. And I've done a lot of, manual labor jobs that were way harder than reselling. And plus, reselling, like eBay's running 24/7. So it's awesome when you wake up and you got $250, $300 in sales on eBay while you were sleeping last night. So that's awesome. Anyways, guys, go ahead and follow our guest, the Georgia Picker. All the links are going to be down below. We're trying to help him hit 2,000 subscribers for YouTube and Instagram. I don't have any videos planned for Thursday or Friday because it's the holidays for Thanksgiving. So you guys enjoy spending time with your family on Thanksgiving. And be on the lookout, guys, because on Black Friday, there's going to be lots of deals out there that you guys can find. I'm kind of keeping an eye on Walmart, Target, Best Buy, those type of places. And if you go out there, you can find items either for Christmas shopping or for items that you can flip and resell online. So just keep an eye out for them, especially like GameStop right now, Best Buy, Walmart, Target, all those type of places. Anyways, till next time, I'm going to try to bring a guest on on Saturday. So you guys have a great Thanksgiving and a great holiday, and we'll catch you on the weekend. Go ahead and follow our guests. All the links are going to be down below, the Georgia Picker. You guys have a great one. Catch you guys later. Have a great holiday. Bye, guys.